Workers and Resources Soviet Republic is a very good game because it somehow mixes the city planning of city skylines with the logistics of Factorio. And if you don't know this game or saw it before and thought this is way too complicated, this video might be for you, because today we are playing on the Eastern German map, which is gonna be one of the harder maps to do this, that you chose, by the way. But more about it later, because we today play realistic mode 1930s. Yeah, we're playing the early start. I know they added a 1920 start. We don't talk about the 1920 start. As for the settings, we're gonna play realistic mode, because last time I gave myself more money to explain the game better. But this time, I want to show you a challenge and how to master it. The only thing I will put down is global events. This will still keep it in realistic mode, by the way. If I change anything else, it goes to custom. So the game does see this as a legal move. I mean, you can even disable global events, but that is kind of boring. I generally just hate earthquakes because they feel way too punishing and can literally ruin your run. There is no way to stop this, and that's just not fun. Fires, I will keep it frequent, mostly because otherwise it's not realistic mode anymore. But to be fair, I also don't enjoy the fires. I just accept them, and at least you can build something to stop them. Rant over, let's start the game. And the reason I say this map is more challenging / I'm not that big of a fan is because it has a lot of stuff pre-built. There's a lot of asphalt roads already around in the 1930 start, and if you want to build your own stuff, that's a bit annoying. Some of you might say, hey, then just start completely empty, but that is also annoying, because if you're a new player, pre-built cities are not bad, not because you want to use them, but because you want to steal the workers, which are very expensive to import. So to make it a bit easier for yourself, I do recommend to start with a pre-built map. Just Eastern Germany and especially Poland have already a lot of infrastructure built, which makes it actually harder to work around this stuff, because we today will build our city over here just because we have a beautiful large custom house, which is necessary in the beginning of the game, because when you start a new map, you need to spend a lot of money to make money, and later on, as the title of the game says, we can just work with our workers and resources, because on paper in realistic mode, you don't need to buy anything, like you don't need to spend your money at all if you produce everything and handle everything. This is gonna take forever to do. For the longest time, we will need a lot of money. That's why I'm choosing this custom house over here, because it's a big custom house. It has not too much in the way. We can't check for resources on the map yet, because that is research locked in realistic mode, but we can cheat a little bit and just take like a pump check, go around and search for oil. Yeah, all the way over here is oil, but because I want this quote-unquote guide to be very flexible for you, meaning you can use it no matter the map, I will not depend on raw resources at the beginning, so no coal, no oil, nothing needed. And together, we will build up a city that has a lucrative economy, and my goal is, together with you, to build up an economy that is lucrative enough that we can survive and even expand. For now, we have around 500,000 rubles and some dollars. Both currencies are very useful, but of course, because we trade with the East / the Soviet bloc, to be more precise here, we will rely on rubles. And as a final note before we start, in the last series, I have explained every single step kinda slowly, but still with good speed. I will do this a bit different in this series. I will still explain everything, so you don't need to watch the last series if you want to learn the game. But what I will also do is I will skip some stuff and might talk about it later, because otherwise we spend like the first entire video talking about little things and spend no time building a city. So I will talk about everything, but instead of all at once, I will spread it through the entire series. This means you are less bored because you have to listen to me yap all the time, and I have an easier time getting forward with the game. Of course, in the first episode, we're gonna talk more about how stuff works, but this video series is gonna be more of a hybrid between just gameplay and fun and learning. So my goal is that you learn this game and don't even notice it. Anyways, first thing you need always, literally always in this game, is a construction center, and even more important, some kind of idea where and how you're gonna build your city. And for a good city position, you need two things: a flat area and maybe a water source close by, because we have to pump the sewage somewhere. The good news about the German map, we have both, which generally is perfect. So as for my first city, I might actually just use the church, but as for the rest of the city, I am very sorry, but the Soviet progress extends the need of your housing. Therefore, I might ask you to live somewhere else, but I guess we can build around them and then later on sell them out. The church on the other side is actually kind of cool, so I will keep this around because faith is a need I can't fulfill aside from pre-built churches in in the map. And just as a reminder, we play on hard settings with our citizens. So they are gonna be super picky. And if they're not happy, they will work less long. That is literally how it works. If your citizens are unhappy, they will, in the worst case, just try to flee your republic, and best case, work less efficiently. That's not good. So yeah, my plan will be to build the city around here, which is a good position, and optimally, maybe build our industry over here. Because the industry should be close to the city, but at the same time, not too close. Because pollution is very much a thing in this game, and will very much ruin the day of your citizens. So yeah. As for construction industry, I think this over here is a nice area. Not because this looks like a good permanent solution, quite the opposite. I will probably rebuild a lot of these roads here because they are suboptimal at best and bad at worst. But what they also are is asphalt, which is a super good road and very hard to build at the beginning of the game. So I would be stupid to destroy them right now. So I will build a semi-permanent construction industry over here. So everything over here is good. This would be laid on in the way. So I will build all the non-permanent things here and here. But yeah, as I said, the first thing you need in a republic is construction offices. And thanks to the latest update, you can actually have way more of these. I think back in the days it was like 10, but I might be lying. Now you can have 15 of those. And I'll tell you, we will get all of them because these are free and the more the better. What we will also need, because we are using trucks, is the free gas station over here at refueling. And because I didn't mention it, the construction office is under construction industry, and construction offices, you get the free one. Yeah, I don't just have the TISM, I also have the ADHD, and it's probably an amazing experience for a video to follow. The good news is the editing is fast, therefore you will have more attention span, so you're welcome. Every content creation comes with upsides and downsides, and this one comes with a lot of zooms. Next, what we will need, once again not permanent, but because it's free we don't care, under general cargo, distribution offices. And those we actually need to research if we want to build the big one. That's gonna be a big research, but for now we can build 5 for free, which is actually nothing. And this one is gonna be super important because this one will be handling refueling our gas stations, where our trucks for the entire republic will refuel their own tanks. So if this ever runs out, within a very short amount of time, our entire construction and logistics network will stop to a halt. And that would be bad. As for buying vehicles in realistic mode, there's 2 different ways. There's the way too complicated way that you will probably never use, where you click on the customs office and buy whatever you want. This is good if you want to buy something like train parts or a train. By the way, there's steam trains in this game. This already makes it a 10 out of 10. I want to hear no other opinion. This is great. But for something like trucks, I recommend the way easier way, where you just click on your distribution office, or if you build a road depot, which you can build under roads and vehicles and depots, where you get some free ones too, 7 of them.
Wow.
Click on the currency that you want to buy the vehicles with. In this case, an oil tank, because we want to transport fuel. And I'm gonna get this one over here because it has good storage and good maximum speed. That's the upside of our map, because we already have some roads, which is gonna be very annoying to destroy. There's also some logistic to that. You can't just destroy buildings in this game. This allows us to actually be quite fast with some vehicles on our network. So yeah, we're gonna use that. And you know what? I want to have all 3. As I said, we will keep this distribution office for quite a while, because we have no other research, and this is going to be super important for keeping our fuel under control. As for our construction industry, we need vehicles too, and I gotta say, in the early start, a lot of them are bad. If you look at the date, you might notice we might be in the beginning of the efficient automobile, so the vehicles, especially the eastern ones, look like it. What I recommend, especially for the beginning, and especially if you have a road connection to a western custom house, which we do have thanks to all of the roads that are pre-built in this map. So this works in our favor. They should be here quite quick. But even if you have a map that just has gravel or dirt roads, it doesn't really matter, because vehicles only need to refuel, basically use the gas station, when they have an active task. That doesn't make 100% sense in the game, I know, but the trucks that come from the west will probably run out of fuel within like 1 kilometer or whatever. But because they are not on a task and just drive to a depot, they will just drive the rest of the way and then refuel. If you would run a logistics network, that would be a problem, but because we are ordering trucks, it doesn't matter. So if you have gravel roads that are even slower, or dirt roads, which are literally the slowest, you will still get your trucks. It will just take them more time. So even if you play on an empty map with hopefully no rivers, because that's the only thing that could actually stop you building a bridge, you could just build a dirt road, connect it to the west, and get the trucks this way. Because I do hardly recommend to spend your dollars first and buy the western trucks. They are so much better. For example, the dumper over here has a max speed of 50 kilometers per hour and can transport 5 tons of gravel. The alternative, the best of the best, is this over here that can transport 4 tons, which, you know, 1 ton less. That's fine, right? And then you see the max speed, 20 kilometers per hour. This thing is super slow. It will take it forever to be anywhere, while the western vehicle over here is more than double as fast. This is no comparison. So for the beginning, especially for the dumpers, buy these. Same with buses. This bus is amazing. You know what? I will actually right-click the star there to set this as my favorite vehicle and fill my depots over here with these vehicles. Doesn't need to be sorted. Here, I'm basically just winging it. What I do know from experience is that dumpers are super important because for most buildings, or I guess actually all buildings kinda, you need gravel in the first step, and dumpers can be a real bottleneck. Right after that, buses. Even though you will be bottlenecked, especially at the beginning, with your guest workers. Because right now, we can't really utilize the people over here. If we start using them, it would activate their needs, which we are currently not satisfying at all, and it would just die. So we just want to keep them dormant in their little town over there and kind of pray that they never go to any construction site and have to use foreign workers until we build an actual city. So yeah, we want a good amount of buses, but also not too much because we are very limited on workers. That's, by the way, why we're building a city first and then build an industry. Because if we have a city full of people, we can use the city to build our industry way faster. And trust me, efficiency in this game is everything. You don't want to be inefficient, and I am kinda inefficient because I tend to be a bit of a beauty builder. So like a city should look like a city. If you want to see the perfect Soviet blocks everywhere, I might not be the perfect person, but if you want to learn the game and watch someone build like an actual kind of beautiful republic, because I will try that, this might be for you. Anyways, this over here also a very, very good vehicle because it's two things, an excavator and a bulldozer. It is both. I would even say this vehicle is unique because I think there's no other vehicle that will replace it. So for the beginning, super good. And with the first 10 construction offices filled with western vehicles, I will fill the rest of these over here with some stuff we can't get in the west, like concrete mixers, which are not really mixers yet. It's just a truck with a cover. Let me actually filter that for you and show the actual options we have here, because it is actually called concrete mix over here in the filter list. But yeah, our vehicles are very limited. We can choose between this one over here with 3 tons and 20 kilometers per hour, or this one over here, which is actually way better. You know what? I'm gonna switch them out because it can transport a bit more and is a bit faster. Also a vehicle we will need quite a bit, so I'm gonna fill 2 construction offices with them. Other than that, maybe some more bulldozers that are just specialized in bulldozing. And I think that's everything for the beginning covered. Later on we will get other very important things like cranes and asphalt pavers and stuff like that. But for now that doesn't exist. Like it literally doesn't exist anywhere. I guess we could buy a road crane with horses, but if we wait 2 years, we will get a better one. So I'll just wait for that one. So you know what? The rest I will fill with more western vehicles. Very good. And you might ask yourself now, Florius, you say these construction offices are filled, they're empty. And I've teased it before. What happens now is that we bought the trucks and they will now spawn in the nearest custom house, drive out of it to wherever we ordered them, and then wait for further instructions. So all the eastern vehicles will spawn over here in the closest custom house to the east, while the western spawn over here on the other side of the map, because we are currently building over here. So this will actually drive quite a while now to get to us. But what we can do in the meanwhile is either speed the game forward with a magic button combination of control and 1 on a numpad, or if you want to go even faster, control 2. By the way, I got the feedback that a lot of people didn't know this exists for fasting forward. But yeah, literally, if you press control and 1, you can really speed the game forward, and with 2 even faster. Will save you a lot of time in this game, and I'm pretty sure it's nowhere really mentioned. This is just, you know, knowledge handed over from player to player. But yeah, while we wait for these vehicles vehicles to arrive, we can plan our city a bit more out. I would say, firstly, very important, assigning a route for the refueling in our distribution office. This is super easy. You click on a plus and you click where you want to pick it up or load it off. Depends on what you want to do there. And in our case, we want to load it off over here. So we'll click here next. The order doesn't matter, by the way. This is just general logistics, where to load and where to unload instead of follow these instruct lines where you should go. So we will tell them to load in the custom house and, to be precise, fuel, not unload, and unload into the gas station over here and keep it over 30%, which is actually perfect. For like a small gas station like this, 30% is beautiful. So while we talked, 2 trucks already went out to the customs house, loaded fuel, and are now driving to our little free gas station. And this will create chaos in a second. Load off the fuel, and this will literally activate all of these vehicles over here that have not been refueled yet and bring them over here to actually refuel. Even our fuel trucks will use this opportunity to refuel themselves. And crazily enough, the first Western trucks are already here. That was super quick. I am happy to see that we can start working very, very soon. Yeah, they're literally around the corner in Berlin. Beautiful. This is where we will build our industry. We're gonna keep that warm for later, and we don't want to build anything here. But more importantly, we gotta start building our city. I needed to wait for some vehicles here, especially the bulldozers, because we want to flatten the area here. Otherwise, it becomes super annoying to build. And flattening an area before you build a city is just something very good to get used to. I mean, not just a city, industrial site, whatever. So what I'm doing right now is I'm in the terrain tools, and I'm using level terrain, hide from center, meaning the game takes wherever I click, and as long as I hold left click, it will apply that to wherever I hold it. So I can go over here, but because I didn't let go of left click, it will continue to put it at the same level as I had clicked before. Yeah, this will take a little bit. This is not too interesting. I will probably do you a favor and edit this out. And if you ask yourself why I waited for our vehicles to arrive for that, if you look close enough, you might notice that this is being done by our bulldozers. They disappear really quickly, but you should see them. And the more you have here, the quicker you can do this. So this becomes easier and easier to terraform because more and more bulldozers arrive. And if you remember, the excavators we bought are also bulldozers, so they can also help with terraforming. And yeah, there's 2 types of terraforming. If you want to lower and raise terrain, you use excavators. But if you level terrain, which we do right now, you use bulldozers. Yeah, as I said, the first episode, I will still put in a lot of things. And I very much invite you, if you have any open questions, if you didn't understand something, write it into the comments. I will do my best to answer them all in one or the other way, meaning either if it's a small thing, just write a comment. And if it's a big thing, just, you know, explain it in the next video, because I will let myself some time between the recordings to read your comments. And yeah, I will just do this in the background, and once we get rid of this city, I will terraform this too. But while there is still houses, I can't really terraform this. Same with the road. So we have to kind of terraform around this. Does it look beautiful? No, that's it. And yeah, over here you notice it actually takes quite a while now to terraform because the excavators have not arrived yet. They take forever to be transported, and there's actually quite a lot of land you have to move to get this all to the same height. And if you already ask yourself, oh, something is free in realistic mode, you can just terraform the land for free if you have the right vehicle. I have to burst your bubble here because doing this uses up the fuel of the vehicle, meaning they have to refuel after a while. And oh my god, what is happening over here? Little debugging. Maybe don't put your gas station so close to your offices. This is kind of horrible. But yeah, everything's in order again. Looping back to what I said, meaning after a while, they need to go back to the gas station like these bulldozers are already doing and refuel again. So in the long term, terraforming costs you fuel. It is not a high cost, so this is still very much worth doing. It is neglectable, but it is still something that exists, so I would like to mention it. Anyways, we have a bit of an area now, not a big one, but enough to build a city around the corner here. What I will do to really close off these citizens over here is go down to the waypoint over here, where you also have street signs, and put down this street sign over here that pedestrians are not allowed to go through here in both directions on the road into the city, meaning that these houses here can't go outside and whoever is outside can't go in. I will make this basically its own little microorganism, but I'm also doing this to keep the people safe that live here, otherwise they will probably go to a construction site and die. I mean, what you can also do is open the settings over here and put this number to 0. What this exactly means is maximum workers without construction offices and people living in houses are not coming from construction offices, meaning you allow no workers to arrive to the construction site without using the bus from the construction office. But later on, I like to use this, and and undoing the setting is quite annoying. What I will do right now is go to residential and take this from auto-invite immigrants using rubles to randomly move citizens from existing residential buildings to newly built flats, because we will only do this. We have people in our map, so we don't need to pay for them. That's the best part about this. Which brings me now to the needs of a city. And to keep it fast, I will scratch everything very quickly and then later on go into detail. Firstly, we need electricity. That is not just important for the city, but yeah, they also need electricity in the building, otherwise they have a bad time. We need water and sewage handling. We need heating, because we are in Germany and the winters are cold. The villagers are able to heat their own houses, quote unquote, using wood, which does produce a slight amount of pollution, but it is kind of neglectable. So these cities are fine with heating, but our beautiful Soviet blocks rely on a central heating system, so we have to build that. Trash disposal, so we need to get rid of the waste somehow. Basic needs in a city like food from a shopping center and hospitals for healthcare, and also fire stations for not burning down, because we have high fire risk, because this game hates me. But I gotta say, for the beginning, they're not that important. Fire stations become more important when you have a bigger city. You still need one, but it's not that drastic. And after all these needs are satisfied, you're allowed to remember now that we have hard demands for citizens. So they want a lot, meaning that we need to take care of their consumption of liquids in advanced stages of production, a cultural need, a sport need, education and childcare. Also very important, advanced education, universities, because educated people are super expensive to import. And also not neglectable, crime and justice. We need police stations, we need courthouses, and we need prisons. All of these buildings are needed no matter how big your city. If you don't have them, you will have a problem keeping your people happy, and this will quickly spiral out of control. So building our first city will basically be our biggest challenge. But once we have a working city, we can easily expand it if we keep most of the buildings we build within the range of our houses. So yeah, building a first city is quite a challenge, but also very satisfying to pull off. Now with all of the yapping done, let's build it. Firstly, every good city starts with a road, and I thought about it to kind of keep the current vibe of everything. I think I will put my roundabout for the highway over here, meaning for now I will build a temporary road like this. Later on this will connect to a roundabout in the middle here. We will have a little bit of an entry area here, which I will pump up like this. And yeah, already look at this, we will need so much more space. This is kind of crazy. I think I will start with building my first block of population. I have my own unique building style, like many people have, and because I try to build a more natural looking city, not just blocks, I tend to build like this now, where I combine these two blocks and make a little bit of an area with a yard in the middle. And for this building style, maybe I should mention something very, very stupid, that you can't place the L-shaped building first because the I-shaped building can't connect. If I do it the other way around, this very much works. Don't ask me why, but when I build this building style here, I always have to place these first, and then I can place these. This, you know, it just works, don't ask. By the way, the two buttons I use for rotating and mirroring is T for mirroring and R for rotating. And that's my first city block done. There are better houses. I want to highlight that. If you want to build super efficiently, I recommend this over here, which has a capacity of 110 people and a quality of flats with 87%. That is high, especially for zero research, because you might notice with all of the symbols, 70% of the houses are currently locked behind the research. So we're building with a very limited building pool, especially if you look at large residential buildings where you can build this one block over here, which is also not bad, but a little bit ugly looking. And this one over here, I don't like because it looks a bit run down for some reason. I think you see it a bit in the preview. No matter how much you maintain this building, it will always look a little bit run down, which I personally think is a little bit stupid. And the newer buildings don't have that. And with the newer buildings, I mean actually the older buildings that they brought with the early start DLC. And that's why you always see these cool steam locomotive over here, because these are all DLC buildings. If you want to see a non-DLC playthrough, now I can very much point out my other series that we already did that has also very much a focus on learning the game. game and uses non-DLC buildings. This series here now is about them because the DLC, in my opinion, is super good. It doubled the content of the game and I think it's $20. Yes, confirmed Florius chill. Okay, this game is great. I come from the Paradox bubble, okay? And if you want to know what high DLC prices are, I recommend Paradox games. But yeah, we need to terraform way more because you already start to see maybe that this is just one block that I built using the grid, by the way. I love the grid. You see over here the buttons F1, F2, F3, F4 are the different options between the grid map mode, where you go from no grid to grid and then grid with lock-on, which is the best way to build in my opinion. The topography map mode, which just shows you the height difference, also super important for building. The third one for showing underground stuff, which is not that important right now, but once we start laying out pipes and underground cables, this map mode is going to be super important. And near snap is also super nice for stuff like building parallel roads, because they very sexily smooth onto each other, and that is just very nice. But yeah, once again, random thing inserted that you might know now. You're welcome. My plan now with this is to have residential around here, maybe going all the way to here, and have like a city center here in the middle that fulfills all the needs. So here's going to be shopping, education, all of that. And to start it off, I will just build one shopping center. I personally like this one the most because it needs no research. It does need a road connection, obviously, because you need to deliver the goods, but it has quite the high capacity with a maximum capacity of 180 people, which by far is the biggest shopping center. Makes it really good. What I won't build is restaurants because restaurants are super inefficient. They're good for tourism, that's why it has a star rating, but for your workers, this really doesn't matter. And later on, we will go into tourism because tourism is a very good moneymaker, but for now, you don't need to care about this. You might have already noticed that I planted some houses over here, and our construction industry is quite, let's say, it's still in hibernation. And that's the single reason that I've not assigned any source to get the resources from. I can tell you for the beginning, this is super easy to solve. You just click this button here and click on your closest custom house, and then it will set everything to this custom house. And then I will click over here and copy this order to every single construction office, because if we're honest, we're not producing anything. So our best way to do this is via the custom house. What I will also do, because I already know this is going to be the final build, I will turn this into gravel roads, especially the sites I already know I want to keep, because the gravel roads are already better than the currently used dirt roads. The dirt roads are free to build. You can build them whenever, and you can destroy them how much you want. You don't need any demolition office for that. Starting the gravel road, where you start to put resources into the road, that changes. So you see over here, mud road, maximum speed 35 kilometers per hour, and walking speed 50%. With walking speed, the game means how far people can walk from the current position, while the gravel road is already way better with 60 kilometers per hour and 12% more walking speed. The highest number you will get with roads is the asphalt road with street lights and sidewalks, 87% walking speed. If you want to get the optimal walking speed, you need to build the asphalt footpath with lamps, which has 100%, or the brick footpath with lamps. And I'm gonna spoil this right now. We're gonna work a lot of bricks for the beginning because asphalt takes forever, because we have no pavers, the technology doesn't exist, so people need to do everything by hand. That is horrible. You don't want to do that. So in our city, we're gonna use a lot of brick roads and gravel roads. Gravel roads for now because they are super cheap. Later on, when we feel very confident about our city, we can upgrade it to brick roads, which is actually beautiful because the first step of a brick road is to make a gravel road. So we already placed down the first step anyways, and we skip a building step. That is same with asphalt, by the way. Last thing I can show you is if you want to upgrade anything, you can just hold shift and it upgrades that. If you can upgrade it, of course, I can't upgrade a gravel road to a gravel road. But yeah, if you want to upgrade multiple roads, you can do it like this. I will not do that for now because we will not have that many roads. But yeah, you see right now my biggest challenge with this map, and why I said I might not want to do this, but you guys wanted to see this anyways, is because the beginning infrastructure is really in the way on what I want to build. And as for a guide, this makes it harder for me to explain everything. But on the other side, this is not just a guide. You also want to see me play on a map and just terraform it a little bit, I guess. And I also gladly do that. So I try to explain everything as generic as possible so you can implement it in your game. But in the end of the day, especially after part 1 is done, we're just gonna build a lot and really expand this republic. So while things are being built in the background and we struggle a little bit to really extend all of this, let me show you a little cheeky trick if you want to do harsh terraforming and are kind of bottlenecked by your tools. The game for some reason has a very weird and very efficient way to terraform that probably shouldn't work like this, but does. Runways. If you have 2 points that are on the same height, you can easily just do a runway like this. And if I click now the right mouse button, like the game game asks me to, I can flatten the terrain. And for some reason, doing that with a runway is super quick. So the terraforming here would take me forever. But because I'm terraforming this with a runway, I can just fill up the area so quick. It is genuinely crazy. And I can create so much space for my city very, very fast. Like, this is beautiful. The only limitation for this trick, generally speaking, is that you need 2 points at the same height. But aside from this, that's just a beautiful way to terraform. Because if I show you again, if I just use the normal terraforming tool, this takes forever. You see how slow this is. So we just fill up this entire area here within seconds. So my plan now is to kind of extend this over here and then do it here again. And then we have some slope here and do this on both ends as good as possible. The best part about this is that we don't need a big area. Just the middle of both sides need to be kind of on the same thing. And then this right-click terraform works beautifully. The only thing we can't, of course, do is terraform something that's already built. So we'll get rid of these things over here when I do that. So they're not in the way. Click on the runway again and do this. Right, my border. Yeah, for some reason, the game already says this is a valid runway. I would trust no plane to land here. What you could also do as an orientation, because I do want to have some area down here to be free, I would like to go like up to here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to build a pillar with the terraform up tool. Yeah, this will take some while. If you want to have more precise numbers, by the way, you can always go to the measuring tape over here, hover over here, and then it shows you the exact height of that position. So currently we're looking at 11.65 and we want to go up to 12.35. Also just notice you see it in the top right too. Yeah, that might be on me. I never checked that, but it's actually pretty good. Yeah, that's basically the same height. I'm gonna just terraform this now. I'm showing you the ancient arts of flooding land, not because of logic, but because of the sheer will of workers and the runway. This is generally amazing. The beauty of runway terraforming. And the best part is you have no research for airports, but for some reason, the dirt runway is free research. You don't need to know what an airport is, because it's just a dirt road, which is a little bit wider. And for the details here, we can just use the normal terraforming tool. That is fine. So, a nice flat area where we will need some space down here left. And I keep saying that because we will need gravity on our side for sewage treatment. And I can actually build it right now. Our sewage treatment plant down here, because the sewage pipe works with gravity, meaning for this to efficiently work, there needs to be a height difference. So having the treatment plant on the bottom is actually perfect. And of course, this treated water then needs to go somewhere else. Like in our case, the river. Don't think about this. This is 100% legal. And then connect it with some pipes. I will just place this right now. So this is already set and I can terraform around it. You can also force this a bit with the terraforming tool too. I mean, even if you have a city without any water source, you can just dig a hole until you reach the groundwater, which exists in this game on area map, and put your sewage in there. And if you treat it, that's not a problem. Literally how I play sometimes, and it generally works. So I would say while all of this is preparing in the background, let's build up utilities. First of all, and very important for the start, electricity. The TLDR for electricity is that we will import or produce, in our case import, high voltage electricity, convert it to medium, and then distribute it as low voltage via the substations, for which we don't even need cables anymore because they just connect on their own. You see this here. The best way to start off here is to build a switch, because at the beginning we only get one real foreign connection. I mean, there are multiple per map, but close by there's only one, and we don't want to waste that connection to go in just one power transformer and that's it. So what we will do is we will immediately distribute more connections, and I would say we build it over here because we know that this part of the city will stay the same, unlike the stuff over here that we will probably very much build differently. Make a dirt road connection so they can start building on it. And now I want to place the power cables with the most wattage, so this one over here, from the high voltage wires to that point over here in a way where it doesn't interfere with future railway or highway, and bring that connection over here. What I like to do now is to click on it and see if everything highlights to see that this is all one connection and I didn't miss anything, because if you build from two different sides, this tends to happen sometimes. And the double checking too if both connection ports are not shown anymore, meaning they are actually connected. Perfect. So next thing we need is a power transformer. I guess like this is fine, even though it is kind of horrible. You know what? I will get rid of this dirt road here, connect this road again, because the road split it apart in two segments, and you can do this via the connect to roads pieces, which is in a lot of menus actually. It is here with pedestrians, but it also exists under the signs up here with the road, and same with railroad next to the waypoints. So yeah, this is very useful. I mentioned it once so you know it exists. What I actually want to do is do this now, get this somewhere built with a road, connect this over here, once again with dirt, because this doesn't need an actual road connection, just that it can be built. And if it ever catches fire, the fire watch can get here. So let's connect this, meaning we're going from high voltage all the way over here, distribute more high voltage down to medium voltage. And now for the last point, with an electric substation, I will just place it here in the middle because it catches a lot of stuff at once, to low voltage in the area. And you can see this when you hover over this with the few electrical connections. It is very nice. I mean, it also previews it when you build it, but that is sometimes, you know, it can be annoying if you click shift, you don't see it anymore. Yeah, if you build a lot of stuff, this becomes very distracting. Last thing we need to do is to connect this, and you might have noticed there are buildings in the way, so I will do this via underground medium power cables, which I can just, you know, go through here. I love to use underground cables for medium voltage just because it is way nicer. Otherwise, you have like power lines everywhere, which kind of look cool, but are also annoying and in the way. So this is a nice solution. Last thing we need to do is to go over here and import electricity. Later on, we can also export electricity if you produce too much, but electricity is super unprofitable and super cheap to import, so we will just keep importing it for a very long time. And if you want to have a better overview on what is currently being built by our construction offices, which are already having amazing traffic, we can use the construction office assign tool over here, assign all our construction offices, which are in one row over here, and click on the next thing to see what they are currently building on. And this also allows us to assign them to new buildings. So if we ever build something outside of the reach of these construction offices, we can still add them via this, which is a very nice tool. I will also build a real quick road down to here. We can connect this, and via a dirt walk path, this. Now we can also assign these projects. And yeah, these will also probably need electricity, which they're probably outside the range. Yeah, they are. So we'll just build another substation down here. And once again, connect it with our transformer. Very beautiful. And you're starting to see the building projects really add up over time. And we're not even close to being done with the town. Next thing we will need, I think I'm also going to build this outside, is plumbing. Starting with water, where we will need, as a workplace, a big water well to pump up the water, and a water treatment plant to clean the water. Otherwise, you just spread pollution through your town, which once again decreases the health of your citizens, which once again is bad. So what we are gonna do is build over here under the surface water intake, the big water well, which has an electricity connection in the future. You see the yellow line, meaning there's one substation. If you go more over here, the other one starts to connect too. So basically, this line over here is your low power electricity line, and right next to it, as a workplace like this, I will build the water treatment plant. Now these of course need to be connected with water pipes, but we can't just connect them because there's a pressure system in the game. Yeah, welcome to realistic mode. So what we need to do to connect our water well with our water treatment plant is to build a water pump station in between, which once again needs electricity. And you know what, I will just squeeze this one in here where it's not really in the way, using basically the middle space of our blocks for a little bit of utility and later on a little bit of leisure. But for now, that's a very nice space to just build this pump here and connect with the water well. Meaning when our workers work in a water well, it produces polluted water. This is being pumped through our pumping station into the treatment plant, from where we will distribute it. But if you want to play a bit more safe, because things can always go wrong, you might want to build a water reservoir or a water tower, whatever you like more. I just personally prefer the water reservoir, which means we need a few more water pumps. I just noticed this path here is completely wrong. Well, let me fix this real quick. Anyway, so what we need now is another pump, and I can just build this on the other side, which will pump out of the treatment plant into the storage unit. And if you come to moments where you can't go through a pipe or something, like I couldn't here, actually now I can, but sometimes you can't go through a pipe on the same level. The trick is to just build it right on top of it and then continue building. I will show it later when it doesn't work again, but this time it just bullies me because, you know, I want to show it off and the game just, you know, this time it works, it's fine. And the last thing we need, for that I will extend the road a bit more, build the last pumping station over here, is to pump out of our water tank and into a water substation. The water substation is like the electrical substation, just a distributor for the good in the region. So you know what, I will build one for now over here and connect it with a pipe. The only reason I built it so weirdly is because I really don't know what I will do on this side yet. So I'm too scared to build anything permanent here, so I'm building all the pump stations in my city where I know this will stay the same. So this looks a little bit awful, but we have one rule on this channel. We don't talk about the underground plumbing, okay? Once it works, it works. I don't want to hear anything. And now finally to the last chapter, sewage, which basically works the other way around compared to water, where we start with the sewage tank, which in this case would be the substation. And hard to show with this, but if you don't want to build this road, you can hold control and then you build it without a road. And we don't want to build a gravel road here. I really don't need it. So I'll just build a dirt path and then connect it with our thickest sewage pipe down to our treatment plant, which is a bit of a waste because, as you might see, we only have 2 connections and we might have way more sewage tanks than this. So what I will do is in the medium here, place a sewage switch if we can squeeze one in. And yeah, we actually can. So we'll squeeze this one in over here. Basically, still further down than everything else because it's on the road down, but still not all the way at the bottom. So the sewage should just flow down from here. I will occupy the side entrance over there and connect this to that thing over here. And bam, we have 2 extra connections now for sewage. The plant can 100% handle this. And now our sewage tank collects all the sewage from the region, lets it flow down the pipe to our treatment plant that we already built before, which is over here. And I will not build the big one. The big one is a bit overkill, especially in early start where building takes forever. You will see this over here will take quite a while before it's done building. And then as a final step, we built the sewage discharge next to a river. And this is a bit fiddly because the water needs to be in the water and the ground bits need to be on the ground. Sometimes you find a sweet spot. If you can't find a sweet spot, you can create one with the level terrain tool again on a very low setting. So you can make it bigger by mouse wheeling out, and by mouse wheeling in, you can make it small again. So you can create better surfaces. The other way around, you can always lower the terrain to create once again more space for the water. So it's a little bit fiddly sometimes to place this. I kind of skipped over that because I found a sweet spot quite fast, but I still want to share that knowledge that this can be a bit tedious sometimes, and that's why I'm doing it like that. And yeah, generally speaking, that is utilities for electricity, water, and sewage taken care of. We will see it later in action, and I will show it again. Now missing for a functioning city is heating and waste. Waste is absolutely the easiest of all of it, especially at the beginning. What we will do is we will place garbage collection points around the city in range of as many buildings as possible. You see over here, we're in range of the shopping mall and all the houses around it. So we definitely want to place one here and then maybe mirroring that over here and then kind of doing the same over here. But yeah, it's pretty straightforward. Gonna upgrade this over here to gravel roads too and connect them now because I didn't do this before. And you might have noticed that it's like a white preview. This means because we're using resources, the game gives you a preview of how it will look. And then you have to click over here to confirm what you planned. So we're not actually building it yet. We're just planning it for now. And once we place down everything new, I can just click this over here. It's all confirmed and now it's being built on, which is perfect. I might also need to upgrade some of these over here. I just need to be careful that when I upgrade like this, that I don't catch the things over here because my utility nodes really don't need gravel roads. So I only want to upgrade the entrances to the houses and nothing else. That's even more to do for my construction industry, which brings me to probably upgrading my construction industry and prepare our real industry. I think the biggest problem over here is going to be integrate all of it with a good railway system. So we got to start planning that too. And obviously the first step again is to terraform this area and make it flat. So with parts of our city already under construction, of course missing a lot of stuff like hospitals or fire stations, but I think my construction industry is very much overwhelmed as is, so I don't want to give it even more to do. What I would like is to start the industry on the side, maybe start some railway construction, and most importantly, plan out the heating plant, which will take some time and some logistics to build, because that will be a quite permanent decision that we can only do once. There is no real, oops, I didn't want to place it there, let me try again in this game. You kind of get one try with most things, especially with the amount of money we have. Then if you fuck it up, you're kind of screwed for a while. For Terraform reasons, I will buy a few more of these in a road depot, because right now the other ones are all being used for construction projects, which of course is good, but at the same time I can't terraform right now because they're all gone. But still, the city is being built slowly but surely, and I gotta say that is a very satisfying part of the game, just seeing everything driving around, doing their job and constructing what we planned. That's why I really like realistic mode. So the excavator excavators have arrived and are refueled now. So I will get to the boring job now and terraform this area to something useful. Because this is quite a big working area if we terraform it correctly. Especially if we move this road over here a bit more north. And we actually have a big area to work here. And our city can also grow quite large over here. So I think they should complement each other quite nicely. But for now, we still have nothing. So I'm gonna stop talking now and start getting to work. And yeah, welcome to our working area. We have space now. Let's do something with it. First, I want to measure the distance from our population center over here, which is around 700 meters. I would say I would like 800 to be on the super safe side and start building our heating plants over here, because you do want to have a distance at minimum because of pollution. And yes, I said this before, but you can use the measuring tool for distances and it tells you quite a lot of stuff. We are at 831 meters here. This should be enough. So over here I will place down our heating plant, and I think from here on I will build everything around it. Like our heating plant will need a buffer storage of aggregates where we can store coal, and this is under aggregates. I know, crazy. I will probably later on build a second heating plant, so I want to place it in a way where I have space for more connections later. So let me place this, and if I would build a second one here, and yeah, you would see it would perfectly connect to the other one too. We just gotta be careful that we don't build somewhere where it would be in the way, but I think, yeah, this is perfect. We don't need more than one right now, but for the future, that is quite nice. Later on, in a perfect scenario, we have a highway that goes over here, has a roundabout, but now we have our weird swirling road. So I will use this to the best we can and connect on like this. We will also probably avoid a lot of traffic if I will just build a road like this, so they can take a little bit of a shortcut. So I'm gonna build this, and yes, we're gonna get rid of this semi soon, but for now I think I have to live with this design. But if you build a railroad down here, we should be also fine. I thought about building our railway construction office over here, because importing something like grain, which we will do, is horrible to do via trucks, especially in the early game. So a train network would be quite useful, which brings me to placing a small one over here. More about it later. Just know for now this needs electricity, and in a perfect world we also connect it to our water from our water well. There you go, good example. It doesn't let me build the pipes through here. So what I do is I see how far it lets me build, like here, and now we're already through the other pipe, and now we can continue building. Is this a bit cheeky? Yes. Does it work? And that's why I'm gonna use it. Also yes, because if you dig deeper with your pipes, it will take the excavators longer to dig for the pipe. So yeah, I try to keep everything on a level here, even though it's not the most logical thing. It works. More about this later. This is not important right now. Just know the railway construction office is a job that needs workers, and if you have it right next to our city, we might not need to bother with bus lines because they can just walk here to work, which is good. Anyways, this over here I will make out of gravel, and I hope to build as soon as possible. Same with this one over here. And we'll probably rethink completely our construction area over here and move it completely somewhere else, like on the other side of the heating plants, which allows us to terraform this area too and make this all look a bit better than just some weird flat areas next to some hilly areas. I think we can make this look more natural at the end, but because we do play on a map that has a lot of stuff pre-built, we get an extra difficulty out of that. I think a lot of people would say it's better to start with pre-built stuff, which is true to a certain degree, but because you always try to optimize everything, having something like a road at the start here might be good because your vehicles can get very quickly from the other side of the map to you, but it's also bad because it really hinders you into planning out your city at the beginning, where you want to do a lot of planning with dirt roads and setting up the railway early so you know where that is going. And I can't do that right now because there's a big road in the way, but yeah, I think we can't get around it. So what I will do is go to construction industry, where we also get a few free demolition offices too, and place them over here where we currently don't have anything important. Once again, by like 2 excavators are enough, 2 buses, and all the others will just be waste trucks. I think we get none from the west, so we need to get one from the east, and the best one is probably this one with a maximum speed of 45 kilometers per hour, comparing with this one over here, which can have 1 ton more but only has 20 kilometers max speed. Yeah, that is bad. I'm gonna get these, and you're kind of starting to see right now the money is going down. We did strategically waste a lot of dollars workers, which, you know, buys you some time, and what you get out of it is just way better trucks. These are actually super good. Jokes aside, I will use them for quite a while, even though we get better Easter ones very soon. But the best version here is the dumper. This dumper is going to be the best dumper for quite a while, so I'm very happy to have this one. It's quite quick, it can load 5 tons of stuff, great. And you might already noticed all the construction projects have been started, but none are finished yet. And the sole reason for that is that workers are this only resource we're missing now. In the first few steps, you don't really need workers. Like for the pre-digging of the pipe, you only need an excavator. Same for the foundations for the buildings over here. But now that they started bricklaying, they need workers. And foreign workers are super limited. So this takes forever because we started everything at once. But to be fair, we're also not under a lot of pressure to finish this because we still have to set up so much other stuff in the background that I'm really not mad that this isn't done. What I could do right now is prioritize projects. Like I could say, build the electricity first. And you know what, just to show it off, I will do that right now. And you can really see right now, the electricity is immediately done after I prioritize it because the game sent all the workers to finish this. And yeah, they just finished this now. Meaning as soon as this is done over here, we actually have our entire electricity network finished in the town, which doesn't do anything for us yet, but it is important for the future, so that is actually good. And I can also tell them to finish the road down here, but I will also not start building any better roads than gravel, because gravel, once again, is the last road I can build that only needs machines to be worked at. See, this excavator over here is doing everything alone. If I would upgrade it to anything else, like asphalt or even bricks, we would need workers to lay the bricks or to pave the asphalt, which would slow us down by a lot. So until we have workers, I will stay with gravel roads. They don't look good, but they do their job, and that's all I need. Nothing more. And you see all of these trucks waiting in line to jump off the gravel. We can build beautiful, futuristic gravel roads being built by our beautiful excavators. Very nice. Talking about excavators, they are still not here. I'm still waiting for the excavators in the demolition offices, but maybe very soon we have them. Ah yes, I found them. They're actually nearly here. Our projects are over here, so they just have to drive over this river, and I just saw how bumpy this road is. I didn't build this road. This is not my fault. But yeah, our excavators are coming over, driving through our beautiful, still being built town. Notice they have no fuel. Immediately drive back out the demolition office. Being tailgated by trucks. Very beautiful. And then refuel. And now they're basically ready for working, so I will start to rebuild the highway. Yes, I will partially start it now. At least with the second road here, which we can use to plan the actual highway now, because there will be parallel roads anyway, so if I can build one, I know where the other one will be, and that should make this a lot easier. So yeah, order them once again to use the custom office to drop everything off and get stuff, and maybe also increase their range. Yep, now an excavator is getting out and demolish the road. And now waste trucks are coming over to offload the waste, and then the road is gone. That's why I bought mostly waste trucks, because the destruction is quick. The loading off of trash takes longer, but it's done. Perfect. So let's get rid of that road and build... Oh, this looks awful. And build an actual one that I want to use. Checking over here, this seems to be getting done slowly. So you know what? I will build a road like this, and then planning a little bit of a construction industry over here. I think 3 construction offices, a little bit overkill, but to be fair, we're building a lot of stuff over here, and once we have an actual road, this will be beautiful. I think what I should and will do first is plan a roundabout over here, like this, and that's how our highway will introduce itself into the city, and then we can basically say this goes to the city, this goes later on more to the construction industry, and then we go forward like through this. Then we buy ourselves a bit more space over here, also allowing our railway to... it's gonna be a bit more complicated to get it around here, but to be fair, the railway will probably be somewhere down here anyways, so that should be fine. And if you want to know how I build my roundabouts, it's pretty straightforward. What I do is I do a line, like a straight on like this, and from there you can very easily, if you like completely zoom out with the roundness of your road, just do something like this, perfect round curve, overcut a little bit off, and then delete the rest of the road with control left click, because if you hold control, you can delete entire road segments, and like this, build a beautiful roundabout. This one is a bit smaller one, but we're working with very limited space. And that you see my dream here. here, because this might look super awful right now. My dream is that this entire infrastructure you see right now is gone. This entire construction industry is also gone. And we have a free area where I can just go through. I mean, already right now, I can start planning the railroad better, because we might need a connection from here to over here. And to really do that, we need to know how this looks like. We'll be terraforming this a bit. Moved it up with terrain smoothing. And if you build a train depot over here, you should have a good time. What I mean with that is that I will build a depot over here. Not connected, because I like them to build the road first. That's also why I'm not connecting any of these, because then I would need to build multiple single road bits, one after another. If I don't connect it yet, they build the entire road in one go, and then I connect it, and then they just build the small bits on top. It's just way quicker. But yeah, my dream might be that, like any good railway start, we go a bit forward, and then we need to go over here. Realistically speaking, it will go along the border here, at least our industrial railway for our industry over here. Nothing is built yet, so this is me planning and getting a feel of how we want to do the railway network. But I think something like this might be good. And yes, control deleting also works with anything, so I'm now in canceling railway, and it also works there. But you know, I had the road before, so I thought I mentioned it for that. So let me build this. I think that's good, because then we can also connect this bit like that. Now the question is, can we go all the way around? Ah, nah, that's gonna be impossible. This would be something awful like this. Could we make more space? We could force more space here. This is the trial phase of me building, by the way, so there's a lot of getting a feel for everything. As long as we're planning, nothing costs money. So later on, I will not share my thoughts this much anymore, but I think for the beginning, this might be actually useful if you are new to the game and want to know how a real mastermind, which I'm 100% not, would plan this out. Yeah, this is just gaslighting me because it says it doesn't work, but it does. I'll show you why. I do it the other way around. See? See, it works. Sometimes this game is lying to you and you just have to play around, but this looks pretty good. I mean, what I would love to have here is also a cross, but yeah, that will probably not happen. And this is smoothing on so perfectly because I'm currently on near snap, which is beautiful for building parallel stuff. You might sometimes see this turned off and you might sometimes see this turned on when I build stuff. Depends on if I want to snap onto something or if I don't. But my illegal build style would be make the crosses here, but I think the game has other ideas. Yeah, I guess I just have to give up the dream. But generally speaking, I'm quite happy with this. The real railway will probably just go somewhere else in the future, like continue over here and go somewhere else. But for the construction side of the railway, I would say this one goes out all the way over here, and there we're gonna build a bridge. Because a good rule with railway is that you really don't want to touch roads. Let me check this out. How horribly we can make this look. Jokes aside, I've seen way worse. And I can tell you I'm happy with this railway network. Firstly, it is quite expensive for something so early, but it completely goes over the highway, so it will never touch that. It doesn't directly connect our construction office with the custom house, but what it is connected with is the train depot. And it's more than enough. All the trains just need to reach the train depot, then we can distribute them from there. And the construction office is quite flexible, so if we want to build something, it can go all the way down here, drive to here, and then go back to build around this corner. So you know what? For now, we'll just place this down, because I'm surprisingly happy with this. It's not perfect, but you know, we're not going for perfect yet. And it is next to a city, so we can actually use quite a lot of workers. I will actually already buy the constructor we're gonna use. Disassembled. Oh, it actually doesn't exist yet. We're not gonna buy this one. This one is absolutely awful. We'll just have to keep in mind that this will cost us around like 60k. That money's not spent yet. Connecting these over here now, and then we have our construction offices. Back to the city planning. We will need to pick up our workers later on and bring them to the workplace over here, where they will produce a lot of goods. And for that, I will use buses at the beginning. So to set that up, I will build a nice big bus platform in this corner over here. I just noticed I can't build it because the paths are in the way, so I actually have to destroy one of this. I guess good thing I built a demolition office, but yeah, then we can build it over here. I will not build it until I'm sure there's a connection, so I will actually let this be destroyed first. But yeah, then we are one step closer to a functioning city. I guess because we have a good space in here, we can sneak in heating over here. And if you want to know how heating works, because I haven't really talked about it yet, we have our heating plant over here. A small amount of people need to work on this, actually not a lot, and it needs coal plus water access and electricity, of course also sewage. And with all of this together, it will produce, I mean, basically hot hot water, which we will transport via pipe to our city and distribute it via a heat exchanger. And you see the same thing here. Yellow lines connecting is electricity that it needs to function, and all the red lines is the buildings it will heat. So doesn't need more than a dirt path, so I will connect it with this. A building died due to a fire. Oh, the pedestrian overpass over here burned down. To be fair, this is not really close to where I'm building, so this is not on me. That's the downside of a map like Germany that has so much stuff built. We have to terraform a lot. And with terraform, I also mean destroy. The German people will learn real efficiency from me. I'm just saying, an Austrian in charge of Germany with great dreams. Nothing can go wrong. Such a stupid thing to say. Anyways, I will need in between a heat pump for big connections, because there's also one for small heat pipes, but we actually built the big heating plant because I have big dreams. I'm gonna place a heat pumping station, which is normally to extend the range of the heating, but in our case, it is way more useful to connect multiple heating plants to one pipe. And this, oh, it's just too long, like literally it's millimeter too long. I think I optimized the route further and it actually just about fits now. That is actually perfect. This is our heating network, pretty straightforward. And what I mean with later on we can connect more stuff, just imagine over here is another heating plant. What I can do is say this connects to this, and then you have a second heating plant in here, and then you might have multiple heat exchangers. And instead of every heating plant going to different heat exchangers, we will connect all of the heating plants via the switches over here to all heat exchangers. And the beauty about this is that we can have one heating plant that is always on and a second heating plant that only turns online when we have extreme weather, like deep winter. Because the game has a setting that heating plants only turn on when the temperature is below zero, which is a beautiful setting to stop workers from going into the heating plant when they're really not needed. Because one heating plant can very easily hold the temperature as a point until extreme temperatures arrive in deep winter. Then the second one is very useful. Talking into the future here, one heating plant will be enough for quite a while, but it's always good to think about these things now rather than to have to rebuild everything later. Because it will deliver all of our people here, and best case scenario, we have one bus station that reaches the entire industry and both heating plants. So I'm already preparing this to be kinda optimized, not perfectly, but kinda, and that will help a lot. I will also prioritize these construction offices now, and the game really struggles sometimes to build this short bit of roads in front of buildings because they can't use bulldozers for that. And don't ask me why, the game just says no for using bulldozers on short paths. They need to be a certain length, otherwise it just doesn't use them. And you know, using workers is our current bottleneck. So yeah, main reason why I'm using dirt connections for industries that really don't need gravel. And you see this bit over here, can't use bulldozers apparently, so this has never been built. The resources are here, everything is here, just won't be built because it's too short. It's kind of stupid, but I think you're starting to see the dream slowly. This over here too, by the way, please, high priority, get workers there. And yeah, now they immediately brought workers here. These things are being built. Beautiful. The workers are so inefficient when you don't use your own workers. It is crazy. From my side, I would say I will build the last few important buildings with you together, and then we do a little bit of a time skip, so you will actually see most of this finished in this episode, and you don't have to wait an entire episode before we do something else. So this episode will be about finishing the city, and the next episode will be about building the money industry over here and actually start to earn some money to pay back the debt we will probably have at this point, which is not bad, by the way. Like, having debt in the early game is super normal, but going too deep into debt is bad. And to see what we need, I would just say we go through the checklist. Firstly, and most importantly, healthcare. I would say we just build the hospital we have. And once again, I gotta say, I love the early start buildings. They are super beautiful. I will build the hospital over here. Can also do a gravel connection here, gravel connection here. It's also absolutely fine to use gravel walk paths around your buildings like this, because it makes it more accessible from all directions. Might actually extend this road a bit more. This one too. As that, gravel roads are built super quickly. Next, we will need a fire station. I think this one I built more at the end of the city. Like, I guess we can get rid of this road over here and make some space this way. This has also been destroyed, so also very important for every city. A bus station, so you can actually use your workers. Fun. Path out and path in. Beautiful. Once again, these small paths need high priority, otherwise they will never be built. Next on our list is education and childcare. So kindergarten over here, it might not seem like it's in range of a lot of buildings, but it's actually wrong thing, because we're currently only using gravel paths, we will not be using gravel paths for much longer. I would say over here, this is perfect. And then on the other side, we can build the school connected via pedestrian paths, building the paths first and then connecting it. Otherwise, this will be a way longer project than it needs to be. Next, university, generally underrated but super important building. I will start with a small communist headquarters because it has one of the most important research we will need in the early game, that being distribution offices, and also super useful tourism. You know what, I can actually get rid of this path over here, and then we sneak in a university like this. Well, I think I actually like how this looks. Then we do this. Oh, okay, plan is like slightly, because I think we can close off this area beautifully if I extend the path like this, build this again like this, connect this like this. Yeah, I don't know, I really like how this is starting to look, because this is all gravel paths, so they shouldn't take too long. The only thing we're really missing now is an orphanage that needs to be at the road, so I guess we can build the orphanage over here. It's not too far away, people can still work there, and it's still within heating, water, sewage, and electricity. And that is childcare and education finished. Now we're missing policing. For that we have different options. We have the small police house and the big police station. This might seem overkill, but I very much recommend to you the big police station, because the small police house will be so quickly overwhelmed you wouldn't imagine. I think I will build it over here for the sole reason that we can't fit any houses here anyways. And who wants to live near the sewage? No one. So welcome online police station. After police, you need a courthouse. This one we can, I think, nicely squeeze in here. And the last thing we need is a prison. Yes, democracy at work. That needs to be still close enough so people can work here. So I will just real quick build a new building block. We can do, I guess, something like this. And because pedestrian paths don't interrupt roads, we can connect it like this, no problem. Should still stay one construction project. So I am happy with this. I think the bad news is I have no real space for the prison, but I guess we can fit it down here. Yeah, it's not beautiful to have a prison directly in the city. I get that, but hear me out. Where else should I place it? Jokes aside, in the prison you constantly need guards, otherwise you have a problem. And the problem is working with buses could always mean there's some kind of traffic, and for a second there's no one in prison and someone escapes. Now you might argue, don't you have the same problem with heating plants? They always need to work, otherwise your people freeze. Yes, you're 100% right, but if you build the heating plant next to the city, everyone will die of pollution. So for the heating plants, there is no good answer yet. I mean, maybe railway later, but for now there really isn't. Not a cheap one. So yeah, we have to build a prison here. I'm sorry. Now the last few things we need, because yep, we're not 100% done yet. We just have the basic needs covered, is sport and culture. We'll place a cinema here, place a house of culture over here, because most needs you want to cover twice for culture and sports, a sports hall over here, and an indoor pool next to the fire station. Let them compete for water. Actually, let me like rebuild the sports hall so the rest of the city reaches this better. But yeah, the cinema should be in the range of most buildings. The house of culture is not connected to any road yet, because I want them to finish the gravel paths first. But once we upgrade this all to brick footpaths with lamps, this should be in range, because right now we're working with 87% range. This goes up to 100, and the only building that's really not in perfect range is one cinema and probably one sports hall. All the other buildings are in very good range. And I think the only thing we also need to do is build a second sewage, water, and electricity connection down here, which is fine. As I said, we pre-built a lot of stuff so we have more connections, and I think I will do this silent in the background while this is being built. If anything comes up, I will let you know. And yeah, for now we can just enjoy the beauty of our construction industry. And it's very, very satisfying to see the city being built. We've also passed our first year, not too far away. And I think for that we're quite well in time. I'm currently busy in the background rebuilding the entire infrastructure. And with that I partially mean is I started paving this road over here, which was a stupid idea because I should wait for our own workers before I actually started that. And you see this takes 331 work days to pave this road over here, meaning it will take 331 workers to work for 1 one day. That's a lot. Current amount of workers in the customs house, 30. And that's probably a peak. I think I never saw this much workers in here. Of 42, that's all gone. Instantly gone. A new building on fire. Yeah, I can't save this. I'm sorry, Berlin. You're gonna be on fire a lot. I would save Berlin, but I'm broke. And jokes aside, by the way, if you start the game completely new, it might have been obvious to me, so I didn't say that directly, but you want to start building directly at a border checkpoint, because otherwise the logistic takes forever to get stuff to you. So we will expand further inland later, but for now we will stay on our little corner on the map and make this part very profitable. And there's the problem about using workers to pave the road. It's super inefficient. Later on you get machinery for doing 100% of the paving without workers, but that's in like 20 years from now. So yeah, for now 1.5 years have passed, and that's because I'm speeding forward a lot now, because the first bottleneck of not having any citizens is pretty brutal. And on top of that, we don't have cranes yet. And if you don't know what they do and why they're so important, you will see in about half a year when we unlock them why they are a game changer, because they truly are. The main reason why I'm not starting in the 1920 start is because you don't have any real cranes, I guess, aside from horse cranes. And I'm not a fan of horses in the game, okay? I'm here for the trucks and I'm here for the steam locomotives, and that's it. The only people alive I want to be in charge of is my workers, not my vehicles. But this is beautiful. The first construction office over here has been finished, so we'll sell over a lot of the trucks. Actually, both of them. Cool. I'll also copy the orders to these two, and then we can get rid of this block of land over there and all the dirt road construction that it brought with it. But what we very obviously will need over here now too, and I think I can squeeze this in over here, is a power transformer. Actually, over here might be bad, but I'm gonna risk it even though I will change this road probably to a certain degree. I'll place it here. Maybe squeeze in a new switch over here, because of those I have rather more than less. Connect this over here, and then with this one I need to be careful because there's a lot of infrastructure we haven't built yet, but I have to keep in mind. So I'm gonna build it over the infrastructure we've already built next to the power cables that are already here and connect it like this. I don't want to build it over here because this will probably all be terraformed right now and getting rid of. I am mostly powering up this region over here now for the sole reason that I will need power here now, and also most likely a gas station. Same over here, by the way. We'll need gas stations now. So I would say actually here in the back is a good space to squeeze in a gas station because it's not in the main traffic. So a bit horrible, but something like this is great. As for over here, we actually have some space with this. I might use it. I just pre-built now the other heating plant, just so that I know how much space I have. I haven't connected to anything, so this will never be built, but this is good to know what I work with. So we have a fuel station over here where it will not block the main traffic, and we have a fuel station back here where it will also not block the main traffic over here. I tend to have problems where I think like, oh, this here is a great position for a gas station because all the traffic goes through here, but then I create even more traffic because, you know, the fuel station is exactly where the traffic is, so nothing works anymore. And then you create yourself a situation where your well-placed fuel station is kind of useless. I swear I'm good at this game. That was a lie. This construction office over here is also done. Literally 99% done. Waiting for the next bus, please. There we go. Meaning I can copy all of the orders with this button over here to the next building. Get the last few vehicles from the free construction offices into our actual ones. Double checking if they're all empty now. They seem to be. I mean, we can even use these excavators now in the construction. First thing I will now do too is disconnect them from the road via holding control and using the cancel road tool. This way I don't destroy any bit of road I don't want to, and only the part that is connected to the construction offices. And now I will delete these buildings by just clicking delete on my keyboard, which is the hotkey for destroying. Even as asphalt road has been finished, I will not waste workers on that anymore, by the way. That was kind of awful. But now we only need to wait for our gas stations to be done. We'll just put a high priority on that. Then we can remove the free gas station from over here, clean this all up, and start building on our actual road. Probably also destroy this entire horrible abomination of a road on the side here, and start building actual highways on the side that I want to use, especially to reduce traffic. I think 2 roundabouts over here could be quite nice. Like having a roundabout here, having a roundabout here, having a roundabout here. Then you have different ways to get to the town and should reduce the traffic. And yeah, I need to assign the new construction offices, then switch back to the building mode. I love this tool, don't ask me why. Just, yeah, now I can assign all of this. And what I also need to do, and I didn't do this with the construction offices before because I was too lazy, extend the working range of the auto search. And now we have a range of 3.5 kilometers, which is quite far. Goes all the way up here. That is actually quite far away. And look at that, we even have roundabouts here already. That's cool. It's a fake roundabout. Doesn't have giveaway. Gotta fix that immediately. Am I right, guys? Can't have a real roundabout without giveaway. Even I know that. I saved 1,000 lives doing that, okay? You're welcome. And a question you might have is if electricity is important for our construction offices, because it's not connected yet. I mean, I prioritize it, so this is actually nearly done and nearly constructed. Yes and no. For the core thing of the construction office, meaning the vehicles driving around, it is not important, no. But if you want to refuel all of your vehicles in the construction office, meaning I order trucks to deliver fuel to our construction offices, which you of course can't do at the free ones, there's no storage there, but the normal ones have that, meaning that our vehicles over here always get refueled when they are in the office again, which is super useful for not overrunning gas stations. So I will do that. It's just kind of useless now because we don't have electricity, and yeah, this needs electricity to work. Sorry that the first episode is so long and so much yapping, but I felt bad that in the last series so little happened, and this time I actually want to do something. On the other side, as I said, this is a hybrid thing, so I still want to explain everything. Not every time always, but you know, always something. The problem is there's a lot of something in the beginning, and my ADHD likes to yap. I just noticed we never imported energy, so yeah, put it up to 40%, or actually 50. It really doesn't matter because it's the maximum amount that you import, meaning you only import as much as you need, up to 50% of what it can give. Like theoretically I could go to 100% and wouldn't do anything, but I guess we stay at 50. You never know. These now have electricity, very nice, meaning I can now order my redistribution office over here that is distributing our fuel to fill them up, so they don't need to refuel at the gas stations anymore, which is once again super useful to not have overrun gas stations all the time, because the construction industry tends to be slow and you know, it's a lot of vehicles too. Perfect for creating traffic, especially at gas stations. And would you look at this, gas station is done, has no electricity yet because apparently never sped up the process of filling this one down here, but once this is connected, this will be refueling vehicles. So in you go into that. I will probably also stop the refueling of the free gas station, and this one is also done, so in you go into that too. And with this no longer being refilled, I will just wait now for it to be empty, because you know, they will still use it, and then I will destroy it. If I destroy it before it's empty, I will have waste to deal with, which I don't want to. I mean, I could also just delete it this way, but that's a waste. So no. So this fuel station now is online too, and this one is empty, so goodbye. Meaning that we can start our beautiful construction project over here basically now. I will just destroy this road over here so they stop using it, which they currently do, and I don't like that. Let me just make a horrible different connection or something. I'll keep this road here alive so they can still reach this, and maybe something like this for now, but I will really start the destruction of this road over here now so we can build our own finally. So some time has passed, we're actually in winter again, and we can finally build a good connection to a roundabout here. I need to kind of surgically remove a bit of road here, but for that I have to wait for all vehicles to not be on this road. Worst case scenario, if you destroy a bit of road and you have a truck on it, your game crashes. I did this many times and it's not good, so you do want to avoid that. What we're gonna do now though is terraform this all a little bit, and yeah, winter kind of really sucks for building because you can't see stuff very well. I want like an out and in road here, and that should end up at the entrance of the city. I'll actually do this for a bit more roundness so the curve is not too aggressive, and now we can build that. Beautiful. I think the time has also come to remove this free depot over here from the main road. So you know what? I think for now, placing you over here on this semi-permanent road is good enough. And once again, it's a free depot, so it really doesn't matter. I use this button over here to change all the workplaces for the trucks at the same time. And I will use this button over here to copy all the tasks to the new distribution office, meaning they're all over here now, and we can just delete the old distribution office. Very good. Allowing us to also destroy this bit of road. I know, progress, crazy, right? I even started completing the highway down here. Let's see how quickly that happens. The good news is in like 2 months, we unlock the first real crane, and that's gonna be beautiful. Jokes aside, I really look forward to that. And here you see again road being destroyed, the trash being transported off to the customs house, quote unquote being sold. I mean, we pay to, you know, get rid of the trash, but it is the export option. And because it's super cheap, we don't really care. And with this road over here connected, I will officially stop using all of the roads here in the north. Even though they're pretty decent, I really want to get rid of them. So next on the bucket list to destroy is this gravel road over here. So that's kind of what I'm doing here. I'm destroying all the good roads and replace them by better positioned ones, but worse ones that we can upgrade later. So in the long run, this is going to be better for our infrastructure. In the short term, it's going to be worse because they are less fast, especially in winter. But yeah, it also is what it is. And here we go. We unlocked a whole bunch of vehicles, including, you see this at the bottom of this, the crane. The crane is an amazing vehicle because it allows us to build buildings faster. I'm gonna buy a whole bunch of these already and fill this entire construction office with the open slots with cranes. And this will now position all of the construction projects that currently need workers and will basically make the building progress 3 to 4 times quicker. So yeah, get them immediately. They're super good. Main reason I don't use the 1920 start date, even though I like the thought of playing longer. I don't really care for horses in my communist game. Sorry, my horse enjoyers. And I do really enjoy a good crane. There, you see in the background, we are destroying the roads. We are preparing our rebuilding of the nation. So everyone who wished for me to build an empty map, I think you get what you wanted. I'm building my own things. And everyone who enjoys a pre-built map, you also get what you want, because once we reach these areas here, I mean, I will not destroy everything. I will try to integrate this to our current buildings, but I will of course also add my own touch. Maybe even remove the wall, I don't know. I get why it's cool and everything, but it's also kind of stupid. I'm also gonna extend our utility network, because the buildings down here are out of range of a lot of it, connecting everything. And just as advice, you can't use these to connect other substations. I tried it once, doesn't work. The connection to the substations always need to come from the transformer or another connection point, like, I don't know, the exports here, which are basically also transformers. So yeah, last step, shit pipe. Very good. And yeah, honestly, now we just need to wait for all of this to be finished, and then we have a city ready to be populated, and hopefully enough money left to build up an industry. I mean, we will have enough money to build up an industry, but we will 100% need to take a little bit of debt, but that is super normal, especially on realistic mode where you have no money and a lot of needs. So don't be ashamed of that. Just be careful that you don't take too much debt without having a plan where you want to invest the money. Otherwise, you are in a debt spiral. Those are not fun. One last thing we are missing is technical services, and I haven't built this because this is not really a building you need to plan ahead like a lot. It is something you can just put at the side of the road, and this is basically your logistical hub for all of your utility trucks like waste, sewage, water, and even snow plows. We will never use snow plows, but yeah, to have it somewhere where it kind of fits, and it will steal some space for living, but at the same time it's really not in the way over here. That's why I like this position. I think I'm gonna place it down here, a bit more outward to the highway, but later on we will make a highway connection from this side too, so they have multiple options to go to the highway. We can even make a block over here. The trucks can't drive through here, so only buses drive through here, and the trucks have to take the long way through the highway. There's a lot of tricks you can use later to regulate traffic, and the best way to manage that is have like multiple exits. While I was yapping, we also unlocked a super good truck. These are beautiful, and we will definitely use them for our logistics in a second, but for that we need something that we can do logistics with, like a shopping center that needs food, or a sewage treatment plant that needs chemicals. As for the industry, only thing we need now, water from the treatment plant, because I like to keep the buffer for the citizens so the people don't die when industry starts to use too much water, so they are safe. And I get an early warning that the water runs out over here, because the heating plant can still work without water, just super inefficient. Plus we need also some sewage treatment. Checking the height difference, I think this should be no problem. 12 to 8, that's perfect. I think that should work. Emphasis on thing. So yeah, let's build this and pray it works. We will see it very quickly if the sewage just keeps on rising over here or actually gets shipped off. It's the best indicator. If this doesn't work, we just need another sewage pump, which also exists this building over here, but yeah, I don't think we will need that. We have gravity on our side. Gravity also works with water, but because we are getting water from the ground and need to pump it up, I just like to use pumps for water because I don't really have the feeling for how water works and how well it works on flat land. While I know sewage is very kind to you and just accepts if it's on a flat land and still goes there, while water most of the time doesn't do that. That's why I built a lot of water pumps, but use just gravity for sewage. And yeah, this is still the best way to terraform. Would you look at that beauty? Good old runway terraforming. It is actually crazy. Jokes aside, you can get rid of mountains with this. It is actually crazy. But for now, I'm just interested in this area over here, so I will keep it there. You're gonna need a roundabout over here. Bum. These two need to be connected. So something like this. Beautiful. We can turn this already into gravel. I got rid of a bit more road over here. So I can make this all perfectly flat and make a nice connection to this roundabout too. Also want to merge some more roads over here so to reduce the building steps here. And yeah, that is that. I think once that is built, our industry is well connected. We have more than enough space over here for our trains. But yeah, getting rid of this road over here, then we can build another roundabout over here. And then we can connect the city from 2 different spots. What we're also missing is still a lot of cranes. So you know what I'm gonna do? I will go over here, build a few free construction offices and fill them with cheap cranes because they're super cheap, really not expensive, and extend the range to as much as possible. Beautiful. Would you look at that? First gravel connection is basically done, and that's how quick they build. What I will do now is I will disallow trucks. Oh, I can actually do this on dirt roads. I can only do it on gravel roads. But yeah, I will try to destroy this road now as soon as possible. There you go. No more on it. Goodbye. Meaning to officially now use my infrastructure. I also got the notice over here. Oh, that's what I wanted. There you go. BR80 track builder short. Costs a lot of money, but this is such a good track builder. And I think they added this one like a few months ago, like December or something. And you can guess in the price difference how much better this one is. A lot. This one takes forever to build anything. This one, you will never need another one. Back in the days before this one existed, you only used this one until you had a connection to your customs house. So you could buy this one, you know, speed 10 versus speed 33. The short one of the two has building speed 100. That is 10 times better, okay? And yes, it's more than 10 times as expensive, but trust me, it is worth it. Like, yes, you could buy 10 of these, but that's not how railway construction works. You can only actively use 1 or 2 for the tracks you're building, and every time you start a new project, it splits your worker force. So it's literally the best for your railway to have 1 good track builder, and that's it, at least for the beginning. Because population is something we don't have a lot yet, and building on a track longer, which this one can also do, is also amazing, because they take resources to build tracks from the storage of the construction house and then build the railway with that. And this one can't load anything. It will build like half a meter and then has to go back again. This one just basically builds you an entire row of track and then has to go back. Same for bridge building. I love it. And the next building starts burning over here and I can't do anything. The only upside of this is that I don't care about these buildings, while I would very much care for any of these buildings over here. But because all of this is just building projects for now, they can't burn down. They can only burn when they finish buildings. So every time another building in the other city starts burning, we can celebrate, because that could have been one of ours. And finally, this road is destroyed. This took forever because for some reason the game decided to use no excavators and only workers. So this road, half a year. But yeah, it took a lot of workers. And literally winter starts. I'm like, oh, I can start terraforming now. No, you can't see anything anymore because of snow. You know what? I will pause the game now. Screw you, game. No winter for you. Because I do actually want to make some more space here so I can plan the rest of the city in the future without thinking like, oh, what do I want to place there? Oh, what I want to place there. If it's already placed, dirt or not, I don't need to think about it anymore. And right now, half of our construction industry is not doing anything anyways, for the sole reason that nothing right now needs gravel, because all the first building steps are done. Literally, all the foundations and, you know, digging out the pipe stuff is done. We just need workers now to build the stuff. And you're starting to see some stuff is getting ready. What I'm doing right now is prioritize the buildings that has cranes, so my cranes become available for other buildings. And the best case scenario is that we finish every building except the living quarters. So when the first people move in, everything is already there and they can immediately start working for themselves. By the way, there's a bit of road not built for some reason. Yeah, please build that. And yeah, we also shouldn't forget about the piping. That is also quite important. I'm not gonna lie, I love runways. They're great for terraforming. And the cleaning up we can do via excavators. No problem. Super quick, beautiful. And it should be more than enough space for a decent roundabout on this side. You know what? Let's make it big. And yeah, turn it into gravel. We did create ourselves quite the terraformed area. I promise I will not always make it look this horrible and this drastical. With an industry park, we need flat land. It's by far the most optimal way. And we will make more land flat too. But in the future, I might take more care of the geography of the region. I mean, I've already sloped this a bit more to look a bit less ugly. And if you go away from topography map mode, I mean, especially in winter, you don't really see any difference. But in terms of building, this is a big difference. And I would say while we wait for the final buildings of the city to be done, including the plumbing, let's buy the last few things we need for the city to really get going. First thing, we will need another distribution office over here for coal, mostly for this storage over here and our heating plants, but also for our steam trains later. I would say 2 distribution offices over here for bringing goods to our city, like somewhere where they're really not in the way. Back here, this road for now will not be used a lot, and these are 3 distribution offices, so we'll replace them as soon as we get the real ones. For the coal, I will need some more western dumpers. I'm gonna build a temporary road over here. For this over here, we will need, I would say, 2 refrigerated trucks. This one is pretty good, but super slow. This one has very low storage, but very quick. You know, for now, because they are cheap, I'm gonna buy 2 of those. Meat is not that important. And otherwise, buy the big covered hulls over here. I mean, only 1 space for them here. And 2 space over here. Last thing I will get is, you know what? 1 last covered hull. And then we need 1 more distribution office for all the rest, basically. And this one is gonna have 1 covered hull and 1 open hull. And you know what? 2 open hulls. Then we might need to use this distribution office over here for more than just coal, but it makes all the other distribution offices more reliable. What that means, we will hopefully never see, but sometimes some trucks load goods and then don't unload everything, and then they're stuck for this good until it's needed again. Meaning this truck that is also used for getting food later on might load electronics for a repair shop that we haven't built yet, by the way. And because it's full of electronics, it can't load food anymore until it can unload the rest of the electronics, which might take a while we need food. And actually, I had a thought where we will build a repair shop, so I think I want to build it for now over here. You know what? I'm gonna build a medium. This position is very good because it has the train depot in range, because it's in range of the line you might see around it, meaning the trains can be repaired in here instead of a truck needing to drive towards here to repair the train, which is way better. What that means, you will probably see in a later episode when we get to repairing. For now, our trucks should still be in decent shape. Yeah, 27% wear and tear. Starting 50%, we have a problem, but we are not there yet. I will also be building temporarily, before we actually build an industry, a free bus station over here for the repair station, and most importantly for the heating plant. And then we can transport workers from here. By the way, only allow workers, no passengers, no students, to over here to heat our city. I also already bought the buses for that. We're gonna do an inefficient bus line for now, and we'll make it more efficient later on, but my full building priority right now is on the city, so I don't want to start even more building projects than we already have. And I think you're starting to see what I mean with the first city takes a while, and once we have this, we can start really growing. I know a very different playing style to our last playthrough, but the early start you can do with raw resources like oil. It is just not as efficient, I would say. Anyways, distribution office over here. Main mission for now is to load everything from the customs house and then distribute it through the city. Like over here needed chemicals, over here needed chemicals too. Shopping center needs food, clothing and meat, also electronics. Orphanage needs the same, but not electronics. And I think, yeah, until the prison is done, we have everything selected. I will bring this up to like 60%. Copy the order for now over here. Copy the order now over here. I will have a very inefficient distribution office for the beginning where we have a lot of small ones, and I will put everything into one list and copy it to all the other distribution offices. It's not a good way to do it, but if you only have a few small ones, it's actually not bad to do it that way. It's a bit lazy, but also very understandable. Over here, we will load just gravel and coal. Gravel for later, coal for now, because we want to unload this over here up to like, say, 70%. These now should go out and unload it over here so we can use it for heating once we have winter. I mean, they will probably already start hitting now as soon as they get workers. But yeah, it's not that important for now. And you might notice at the speed the buildings are finishing now, how good the cranes are. They're literally a blessing. The only reason I didn't finish any housing yet is because I've prioritized everything but housing. So once the first few people move in, they have everything ready to go and don't die because of something stupid, which of course would never happen to me. I would never let people die because of heating in a playthrough. That would be crazy. Don't watch the old series. And yeah, last few trucks we need is fire trucks, and I would say we get a kind of fast one, but also good one. I guess 2 of you should be enough, and that should be the fire station covered. We can actually also deliver fuel to it, so it's always ready. Maybe also gonna buy 2 ambulances, and I think that is, aside from the police wagons, all the vehicles covered. And yeah, you see the example of the prison, that it's still way quicker now, but it also takes forever because there's so many work days in building a prison. I mean, they melt down for only having 22 workers in there, so the cranes are doing their job, but it is still pretty awful how long this takes. Good news is, especially for the prison, you build it once and then you don't need to care about it for a very long time because the prison is huge. But to be fair, that's the only prison I can build. Jokes aside, the other prison, even the smaller prison, has research that we can't have yet, even if I want to. That's also year locked. So yeah, big prison it is. Oh yeah, one thing I did actually forget is the technical services. So let's get that out of the way. What we mostly need is dump trucks, but just to be on the safe side, I'm gonna buy 1 water truck, 1 sewage truck, 1 truck for large containers, and the rest we want to handle for small ones. I love these over here. These are also really good. Oh, they're so much more expensive though. I'm gonna get these. They're super quick and slow, and they actually look like garbage trucks, so W. And once again, everything from the custom house. We can micro this a little bit, saying the water you get from the treatment plant, the sewage you put down to the other treatment plant. So we use our own water and dump our own sewage in our own treatment plant. But aside from that, we should be fine. I also started upgrading some walk paths over here because we do have cranes, which makes us a lot quicker, and not everything is in perfect range of everything. Yeah, even food needs to be extended in range, so that is good that we are doing this. Not that bad on this side, but these have a little bit of a problem reaching everything. Yeah, you know, let's go overkill, upgrade the middle road too. Over time, I will upgrade more and more of the town to brick roads with sidewalks, but you really need to be careful here because you can easily lock people into houses this way. Like this house over here has only an entrance in the front, so if I would upgrade this entire road here, they could never leave. They're stuck in a house now and starve to death. So in this case, I need to upgrade like this so they can still get out the one side, and then upgrade all the way to up here so the other thing doesn't happen to the other house, and then we can build the rest of the road. I'm saying this now because I will do this quietly in the background, and I have done this many times with the same mistake. Please learn from my mistake. That is this serious. Don't do my mistakes. And yeah, nothing is being built right now because they all built the prison, which is good because now I can add the prison to our distribution office orders, copy these everywhere, and I think the rest should be built fairly quick. Yeah, because this doesn't take 1,020 work days, more like 71 right now. I mean, the police station does, but you know, I'm not too mad if this takes a bit longer. And there you go, building the road with a crane a lot quicker. And because this is gonna be the main road, I'm building it before people move in, because as I said, I would block all of these people here, and it is quite an important road, so I'm upgrading it now. Police station is done. Buying a few trucks for policing. I think like 3 is enough. It is a bit overkill anyways, but you know, better build one decent city right from the get-go and go a bit more into depth than, you know, building a bad city and then spending the entire early game trying to fix it. Of course, not speaking from own experience. No. The road is finished and you see all the crossings. Car driver nightmare. Because only advanced roads show like passenger crossings, and I love how dreadful this road is. But yeah, they're finishing the walkways. Also build a few more garbage collection points throughout the city, so I don't forget about that. First house is done. I will immediately order it to work in the shopping center so they have food. Once the house is done over here, which it also looks like it's about to be done, I will order it to work in the pump and water treatment plant, and it's reaching the reservoir, which is really good, meaning it should reach the houses, which it does. Beautiful. Sewage plant should also be filling up now. Yep, no one working here yet, but it has a buffer of some amount, so that is not too drastic. I would like some house to be done here at some point soonish, but it doesn't need to be done immediately. It's not the highest priority, but it does look like all of this is working, which is beautiful. I will order half of them to work over here at the bus platform, so we have some people working in the heating plant already. I've already set up the routes for the buses, and if you want to know how I did that, they did sneakily in the background, I'm sorry. if I skipped over that. It's pretty straightforward. It's like everything we did before. New stop is over here. Load only workers and maybe unload if workers come back. And then I clicked on the second bus stop and said only unload. Because only as much workers as are needed leave the bus. It could be that some people stay in the bus. So at the first stop, I still allow them to get out again to work in the city if there's no open work over here. But yeah, people start working in the heating plant. Sewage should be produced, but also should not overflow. It looks like it. We are having a working sewage system that is really flowing over very soon. Okay, it's working too well. Half of you work down here, please. I need people working in the sewage treatment plant. Otherwise, we have a problem. Yeah, people start working now. The sewage is being treated and it's being released into the beautiful, beautiful rivers of Germany. Perfect. And the more houses are done, the more functioning our city becomes. For now, all of the buildings don't have enough workers for the simple reason that all of the houses are not being built yet. But the workers will also start helping in building the other buildings if I order them to. So I could tell them, hey, you over here, help with this building. Then some of them would also go over here, help with the construction of the house. TLDR, the more houses finish, the quicker this gets. One building I did forget is a pub. Not the most important building, but because we are playing on hard settings, I would like to have it too. And where wouldn't it be better than right next to the police station? So we have that later. But yeah, that is not important for this episode. It's just that I don't forget about it. We'll set it up next time. But yeah, the water storage is filling up. The sewage treatment plant is treating all of the sewage. The heating plant is working at enough efficiency. And we even have a repair station now. Very important. When this is done building, immediately untick this. Allow the repair to cancel when long idle. This is horrible. Sometimes you might be understaffed. And this allows your building to cancel some orders of repairment. And then your vehicles can't get repaired for an entire year. This is horrible. Never do this. What I will do now is add this to my distribution offices and let it be stocked up with goods. And yeah, this city is starting to look alive. Makes me happy. I will also import in this house over here a lot of highly educated immigrants because they're very hard to come by, and fill our university and school with them because we need teachers and professors. Otherwise, we will have a very hard time getting any people with high education. And you see our money right now. This was super expensive to import them, so we never want to do this again. And best case scenario, that was enough so people get a normal education and then later on a high education. We'll also not be touching the research yet. Oh, actually right now might be the best moment because there are no students yet. But as soon as they finish school, they will be overrunning the university. So you know what? I'll allow it. Let's do this in the background, which is super slow, but better slow than nothing. And yeah, our fire station is also being supplied with firefighters. This is, yeah, a safe city now. Jokes aside, all the houses are built. Still some small things like garbage management is not 100% fulfilled, but I would say as a first episode, this looks pretty good. We have built quite a lot. Around 4 years have passed so far, and our city stands. This is literally the hardest part. Let me also apologize for this super long first episode, but yeah, I didn't want to leave you with nothing built and just a lot of open construction sites at the end of the episode. So I made this an 6-hour-long recording for me over multiple days, but I want to go all in for my quote-unquote comeback. Next episodes are going to be a bit shorter, but still packed with info and progress, because next episode we're going to tackle railway, which is nearly built, and industry. Until then, I wish you the greatest of time. Goodbye.